Okay, guys, just before I start this video, I just want to do a quick recap. So, focusing on the Middle East, the kind of situation that we kind of find ourselves in now initially started with um, Iran sending a drone into Israel, supposedly, and then Israel shooting the drone down, attacking a base in Syria where the drone came from. Syrian air defenses engaged the Israeli fighter jets and took one down, an F-16 fighter jet. Israel then sent out another squadron, hitting several Iranian bases in Syria. Sometime after that, Donald Trump said he wanted to pull troops out of Syria. All of a sudden, there was this alleged chemical attack, which is currently being investigated. Israel responded quite quickly by striking the T4 Iranian base in Syria. At that point, they killed seven quad forces from Iran. Later on, the USA, France, and Britain launched strikes on a couple of chemical targets in Syria. While this was happening, Russia was moving bombers to Iran, pushing for control of the River Euphrates with a Iranian Hezbollah-backed force, and bringing military equipment into Syria, most likely the S300 air defense system. Um, After that happened, Iran said Israel would pay for killing seven of its forces. Israel said it was ready for an attack and published photos of Iranian bases in Syria. Iran then displayed new missiles and technology at its Army Day on April the 18th. And then there was talk of a possible coup going on in Saudi Arabia. And all of that is rather significant because we've now got Iran, Russia, Syria, and Iraq seeming to form this kind of coalition, having a meeting last Thursday to discuss and share intelligence. And this came after the attack by the US, the UK, and France on suspected chemical weapons facilities in Syria. The whole evolution of this is really just kind of going in one way. You've then got China stepping in and getting involved alongside Russia, saying that the attacks that took place by the United States, UK, and France were unacceptable and a gross violation of international law, for which I think they're trying to lay this, this storyline, because they're also pushing the false flag chemical weapons was never used kind of, you know, narrative. And obviously, I think it was a false flag. Who it was perpetrated by is up for, discussion and negotiation. But whoever perpetrated it, the fact is, it was perpetrated. Whether it was really chemicals or not, we don't know. Just the news that we've got is basically how we got this response coming from the three allies on the western side, and now we've got this coalition of countries: Iran, Russia, Syria, Iraq, and then you've got China just on the edge there. And you have to look out for countries like Turkey and possibly Saudi Arabia if this coup, goes any further. And that all kind of ties into this narrative that Iran is going to attack Israel. Israel have, said that they're hearing these things, that Iran's going to attack them, and that's why they publish those photos showing, we know where your Iranian bases are, so if you attack us, we'll attack you. But then we've got Russia stepping in saying, warning Israel, if it hits its S-300 air defense missiles, there'll be catastrophic consequences. At this point, they're saying, this is even just yesterday, so they're saying that no decision has yet been made whether to deploy the powerful air defense system. But the reports coming out are Russia has doubled the number of armed ships heading for Syria's Tartus from the Black Sea through the Bosporus, and this was during the strike that was taking place on the chemical attacks on Friday the 13th slash Saturday the 14th. The acceleration of Russian arms traffic to Syria has been noted in the last fortnight. The vessels are loaded with containers holding military hardware. It is believed that they contain quantities of advanced S-300 air defense missiles bound for Bashar Assad's army and short-range Panzer S-1 systems capable of intercepting UAVs and cruise missiles. The consignments also include large quantities of automatic 30mm cannons and radar equipment. On April 23rd, yesterday, high officials in Moscow released the following statement: if Israel attacks the new air defense systems, it will suffer catastrophic consequences. So the Russians have picked up their military movements and put more equipment in Syria, including the S300 air defense systems. And at the same time, while these strikes were taking place on Syria, they moved some fighter jets and bombers to Iran. So if Iran decided to launch an attack out of Iran directly or out of Syria as a proxy, should Israel decide to respond, as it would, they would have to contest with either fighter jets and bombers from Russia in Iran, or more likely going against Syria, they'd have to take out the S-300 air defense systems, which Russia have already warned they'd suffer catastrophic consequences for. So it's all being set up. Iran is most likely going to do something because they've made it very public that they're outraged about this, attack on their base in Syria, which killed some of their people, and they want revenge. Israel has trained for this with the American forces, the Juniper Cobra drill, earlier this year, specifically for an attack from all sides. So that kind of draws in your mind, maybe this alleged coup that's going on in Saudi Arabia might lead somewhere and could possibly see the switching of allegiance from, siding with America and the Western side to siding with Iran and the Middle East. That would totally surround Israel, and that would fall in line with the narrative that they're putting out there. Israel is obviously on the defensive, saying that any attack coming out of Syria, Assad will pay the price. So, for example, again, if Iran launches a strike out of Syria, Israel will attack Syria and Assad will pay the price. But the Russian air defenses are there, so they're going to have to take that out, which Russia have said you'll suffer consequences for. Should that happen, America will be drawn in, the USA, France, Iraq, and China, and there it goes. Everyone goes down the rabbit hole, following the train of war straight down. So these are the kind of things that we have to look out for. Something coming out of Iran, which only draws your attention more to the Iran nuclear deal with its deadline on May the 12th. One of the last videos I put up is May the 14th on the Gregorian calendar, May the 1st on the Julian calendar. That encompasses both days in terms of May Day, and May the 14th being the supposed Israel Independence Day and the possible date where Donald Trump may open the embassy in Jerusalem. That would, I don't know, that would spark something. Just the announcement sparked, a call for days of rage and things like that. So if the embassy actually opens there, and we know that at least one or two other countries have said that they're going to be moving their embassies there, that will definitely, something will happen. I don't know if that's where the match is ignited, so it's all a bit close together as well. May 12th deadline for this Iran nuclear deal agreement, and then May 14th being Israel's Independence Day. Possibly something like Iran attacking them on that day would be significant to send a message to Israel from Iran. If you're thinking in that kind of sense, when would you attack a country on a special day, I guess? And that would line up, especially if Donald Trump decides that he's going to withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal. And you've got John Bolton, who he just kind of got into office, who's right alongside saying, yeah, he would have ripped it out 3 months ago. So the people around him are encouraging withdrawal from the nuclear deal. And if that happens, the deadline is May the 12th. And then 2 days later, you got May the 14th, where at the same time, it's May the 1st on the Julian calendar. And, 2 significant days where there may be some sort of distress signal in terms of Mayday. I don't know, that's just an interpretation, but everything else before that is just logical thinking. You can see the escalations for yourself. You can see how things have stepped up one after the other, coalitions forming, China stepping in on the side of Russia, Russia warning Israel if it hits its S300s in Syria, there'll be consequences to pay, knowing that if Iran attacks Israel, Israel will attack Syria, then Russia can attack Israel, then America can attack Russia, and then China can attack. You know how it goes. It's just one in after the other. So you guys, that's the end of the video. Hope it was easy enough to follow. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and God bless.